Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Classified Captures. Get ready for a heart-racing journey into the wild in ways you never even thought possible. Ready for the thrill? Let's get right into it. We start today's episode with an unusual bit of footage. The footage immediately brings to mind Zootopia. Let's watch. A humanoid white rabbit is captured standing directly in front of the camera, donning a white top. Although Zootopia is a work of animation and far from reality, this trail camera image nudges the thought that humanoid animals might be concealed in the shadows. As enchanting as it is to imagine a world where rabbits stroll around in stylish attire, we're dealing with a simple truth here. This isn't a fantastical humanoid creature. No magic here, just some good old-fashioned costume fun. It's all in the name of imagination. A clever someone decided to don a rabbit costume and give us all a chuckle. We're sure the costume's individual noticed the trail camera and wanted to mess around with its owner. But you and I are much more intelligent than that. We know there's nothing magical or paranormal happening here as much as we'd love that. What would you have done if you were the owner? What would your reaction be if you spotted Tinkerbell gracefully flying in your backyard? Well, the following footage was captured by a homeowner's security camera in their backyard. An insect initially appeared fluttering across the camera's field of view, but as the recording continued, it became evident that this was no ordinary insect. The peculiar creature exhibited human-like features, a distinct head, 2 arms, and a pair of legs, reminiscent of a fairy minus the iconic pixie dust. The creature circled the camera lens almost as if it intentionally sought to be noticed before gracefully taking flight and disappearing into the surroundings. But wait a second, before we start believing that our backyard has become the secret gateway to enchanted worlds, let's hit the brakes on our imagination for a moment. As mesmerizing as it sounds, the magic might not be as real as we hope. Turns out that insect with human-like features was a masterful creation like a CGI wizardry trick that had us all reaching for our fairy-sized wands. At least that's what the logical guys said to us, the paranormal-believing sects. What do you think about this one? Could we be dealing with a real-life fairy, or are the logical guys right? This is all just CGI. What in the world is this? This image was captured on a Trailcam. This enigmatic being sports a multitude of legs reminiscent of a spider's delicate dance. The upper half, rich brown, contrasts dramatically with the lower half, which is a striking shade of blue. It's like the universe decided to throw together a cosmic mashup of creature features, combining octopus elegance with spider-like intrigue. And the plot thickens. It's not just the color palette that's raising eyebrows, it's the sheer otherworldly nature of it all. Now, before we start packing our bags for the first contact meeting with our new alien neighbors, let's take a deep breath and step back into the realm of the plausible. As much as we want to believe in extraterrestrial creatures or a land-loving octo-spider, we might be dealing with something a bit more down-to-earth. Some in the paranormal community considered the possibility of a new species, yet undiscovered by science, slipping through the cracks of our understanding. Nature, after all, is full of surprises, but we don't think that this is one. We actually think this might be a CGI or AI creation. But that's just us. What do you think? Next, we have this peculiar-looking creature that was sighted near a village pilfering food. It appears to have a skin disease and a lengthy tail with some degree of hair. In a world where mysterious creatures seem to be making a comeback, our minds naturally start to wonder. Could this be one of those unexplainable enigmas that have slipped through the cracks of conventional understanding? As each trail cam and village sighting reveals new surprises, it's difficult not to consider that this creature could be more than it seems. But if there's more to it, what could that more possibly entail? Is it a mutated creature? A sick one? A paranormal being? Alien? But hold on, did I just mention aliens? Maybe I'm getting carried away, but you catch my drift. What do you think we're dealing with here? Tell us in the comments section, as we'd love to hear it. Our next footage features 2 teenagers embarking on a nighttime adventure into the woods. During their journey, they stumble upon a white eye mask, an unusual find they couldn't resist picking up. Unfazed, they journeyed deeper into the forest, only to stumble upon another mask. This time, it was a full-face white mask suspended from a tree branch. Now, if it were me, I might have questioned the wisdom of continuing that midnight expedition, but not these brave souls. They pressed on, delving further into the woods. Suddenly, as if conjured from thin air, another mask materializes from the underbrush, sending icy shivers down their spines and forcing them to flee. But this mask was different. It bore an eerie resemblance to someone wearing it, yet the all-encompassing darkness made confirming their sight an elusive challenge. Let's ponder the possibilities now, shall we? Could this be the work of a mischievous forest spirit playing tricks on unsuspecting wanderers, or maybe it's the lingering spirit of a victim from a long-forgotten woods ritual stirred by the eerie glow of the moon? It's a puzzle, but within the paranormal community, a sense of mystery and unease has taken root, suggesting something odd and unsettling might be at play in those woods. However, we find it a bit hard to swallow. While we're all about the paranormal and eerie, this video does seem a tad fabricated, yet there's always room for doubt, isn't there? What do you think is going on here, though? This unsuspecting moose was peacefully going about its business at night when a pair of luminous eyes suddenly manifested behind it. The eyes emit an eerie glow from the trees situated behind the moose. The trail camera's owner, who captured this footage, was genuinely intrigued and utterly baffled by the sudden appearance of those eyes. Considering their significant size, it's rather uncommon for any animal to stalk a moose. The primary predators of moose, such as wolves and grizzly bears, typically target moose calves due to the substantial effort required to bring down an adult moose. This further deepens the mystery and leaves us with a myriad of unanswered questions. Who do those eyes belong to? Could we be dealing with bears, or perhaps wolves? While these explanations might seem logical, the paranormal community begs to differ. In fact, many in the community are swaying toward the intriguing possibility of the creature being a Bigfoot. What are your thoughts, though? Now let's dive into an intriguing recording captured by a lady in a park. She was there to enjoy the scenery and unwind. Her relaxation was interrupted by an unsettling presence she couldn't identify. This led her to start recording, and the result is what you're about to witness on your screen. The footage shows a head emerging, its gaze fixed on her, only to swiftly retreat back into hiding. The figure, whatever it may be, appeared to engage in a game of peekaboo with a woman documenting the scene. The stalker possessed a pallid head devoid of any discernible hair, while a shadowy neck, possibly a dark scarf, enveloped the area. Deciphering the identity of this mysterious entity proves to be a challenge. Some suspect it might be a rake, whereas others think it's a skinwalker. Looking at it, I'm tempted to think it's a rake too, but I feel skepticism rise in my soul. I feel it's all fake and most probably a setup, but maybe that's just me. What do you think? I know I've already used the word today, but this next footage is the actual definition of the word. Just have a look. What we have here is an utterly bizarre sight, a peculiar object dangling from a forest branch. It resembles a skin-like pouch of sorts. As though the sight of that thing was odd enough, a head peers out of it. While we may be tempted to unravel the riddles of the natural world, one thing's for certain. This peculiar creature doesn't quite fit the mold of a domestic companion. In fact, it doesn't fit that of a wild animal at all. I know you, our audience, have a keen eye for detail when it comes to animals, and I believe that you could perhaps help decode what's happening here. Looking at the image again, a part of me doesn't feel that the creature in person is alive. I mean, look at those eyes. They don't blink, nor do they look like they have life in them. Perhaps it's just my ignorance and skepticism at play. So I look to you, sirs and Moss. What do you think we are dealing with here? Please enlighten us. We'd really like to know. Now, this next footage isn't exactly a Trailcam capture. It's captured by a security cam in a Riverhill residence, and trust me, it's just as thrilling. In fact, have a look. Did you see it? On the left side of the clip, right as the clip kicks off, a brilliant blue streaks upward into the sky and swiftly vanishes towards the left. I don't know about you, but that looks like a spaceship going into hyperdrive. I was nearly convinced it was a hoax until I came across comments from others who claimed to have seen similar around the same time this was recorded. One user on the platform where this was shared said, "I drove my husband to work on Saturday at 4 a.m. and saw some lights like a train. At least that's how my husband referred to it. It was long and in a line, and it was moving in slow motion, falling and then suddenly disappearing. So I'm thinking it was activity from that Friday night." Could we really be having an alien situation on our hands? Tell us what you think in the comments section. Explorers often willingly take unnecessary risks in pursuit of capturing diverse footage, even though animals don't have cameras like us. I'm convinced they share our curiosity. They encounter things in the woods, whether it's during the day or night. An example is found in this intriguing video clip recorded deep within the woods under the cloak of night by a trusty Trailcam. And here it is right before us, a magnificent grizzly bear circling the very tree that holds our Trailcam. Just as you assume the bear is engrossed in its affairs, maybe hunting for a midnight treat, it surprises us all. With a sudden leap, it pounces on the camera, swiftly sending it crashing down and giving it quite the rough ride. Seems like the culprit was none other than the camera's alluring red light, a temptation that proved irresistible to the bear. Bears boast intellect and curiosity. They're skilled at exploring scents, sounds, and, believe it or not, objects too, to evaluate their potential for play or even consumption. In this instance, it seems the camera didn't capture its attention for the playful encounter. Instead, it perceived the camera as a threat and lunged at it. A display of how unpredictable these animals can be. Like we always say here, make sure you keep a safe distance when you meet these majestic beasts, no matter how tempting it is to walk up for them for a hug. Amidst the haunting remnants of the Chernobyl disaster area within the decaying walls of an abandoned structure emerges a truly unexpected sight. A word of caution, what you are about to witness is not for the faint-hearted. Within the confines of an abandoned shelter, amidst relics of a forgotten era, emerges an enormous pink entity emanating an eerie, vicious aura. As I witnessed this otherworldly spectacle unfolding, a whirlwind of possibilities surged through my mind, catalyzed by memories of strange wolf-like figures I've encountered before. But let's return to the current tale. What in the irradiated realm could this aberration be? A vision of pink hues intertwined with elongated appendages boasting an astonishing magnitude. Could it be a denizen of the irradiated depths? Is it a colossal squid, or maybe a mutation, twisted, sense-deprived octopus? I might be jumping ahead. Remember, this is Chernobyl, and none of these creatures are indigenous to the region. Could it be a mutated earthworm, perhaps? All this speculation has left me quite dizzy. What do you think it is? I'd like to hear your thoughts, because frankly, I can't make out anything, unless, of course, the footage is fake. A lady got in touch about some weird creatures from her garage. She stated they were birds, but she felt they might be mutated or something. Naturally, we're excited to see them. Confused at first, we were convinced they must be mutated creatures or perhaps even alien birds, given their oddly human-like size. Excited to publish the scoop, we delved into research, and what we discovered is truly surprising. These things are actually normal. Yes, my friends, they are normal. This is what baby barn owls actually look like. They're only weird because they haven't gotten their feathers yet. Who knew? The confusion about them being human-sized stems from the perspective of the capture. Thank God I found out. I'm pretty sure you would have roasted me alive for calling it alien. Thank God. Sorry to disappoint those policing my animal names et al. I had it right this time, and to those who learned something new, you're welcome. This next capture was posted on a paranormal platform we're on by one user. According to him, his brother captured the photo while on a graveyard shift, and yes, it was an evening shift. Take a look. What do you think that is? Looks like a man, right? But how do you explain the white overall? What if I told you that this was captured from a location not too far from you in the US? What if I told you this was captured in Midland, Texas? Now I know what you may be thinking. This might be a hoax. I would have thought so too if the individual was trying to shove it down everyone's throat as being authentic. Instead, he was merely asking for help identifying it since his brother used the location. So I look to you. What do you think we're dealing with here? Tell me in the comments section. Of course, we couldn't leave out a segment on Bigfoot, but this time, instead of presenting Bigfoot itself, we're bringing you evidence of its existence. Ready? Just watch. In the footage, individuals are seen stepping into unusually large tracks resembling a massive foot. And here's the twist. This wasn't just a photo-taking spree. These pictures were actually taken by individuals and submitted to the park ranger's office, believe it or not. These images originate from Canyonlands National Park, and if you're familiar with that area, you know it's not a place known for housing giants. Many individuals, including those who sent in the pictures, believe we are dealing with a Bigfoot. Can you really blame them? After all, how many creatures can you name that are large enough to have feet of that size and weight, leaving such deep imprints in the soil? None, I presume. So if it's not a Bigfoot, what do you think could have made those tracks? Next, we have funny footage that will make you smile. Just take a look. Yep, those are bears sitting comfortably in a pool. This may not be a trail camera footage, but boy, does it have the thrill. Given how chill the one filming is, I'm sure it's a regular thing there. Looks cute, doesn't it? How would you react if the local bears visited your pool on a daily basis? Tell us in the comments section. Speaking of funny pictures, ever heard of bearded pigs? No? Well, get ready for a laugh. Yes, those are pigs with a beard, and no, it's not a costume. Bearded pigs, scientifically known as Sus barbatus, are a unique and interesting species of pig found in the southeast of Asia. Despite the name, they don't sport beards like humans do. Instead, they have long, wiry hair along their jaws, giving them a unique appearance. Have you come across these species of pig before? What do you think of them? Will you be traveling to Asia to see them? Tell us in the comments section. In the heart of the woods, firmly attached to a tree during a mission, two men are about to find themselves face to face with a black bear. Reviewing the footage captured by one of the tree climbers, we observed two black bears scampering up a tall tree as if fleeing for their lives. Meanwhile, two explorers are securely fastened to the tree, calmly watching the spectacle unfold. One bear ventures remarkably close to the man, while the other secures a presumably safe position. The curiosity of the first bear is evident as it tries to comprehend how these humans are perched in the tree without adopting a similar awkward stance. The man closest to the camera appears unperturbed by the black bear's presence, even sharing a momentary giggle as the bear reaches their level. However, the second explorer displays discomfort and seems poised to leap should the bear make a move. Before long, the black bear begins its descent, prompting audible sighs of relief from the two men. I guess not all bears are rowdy. Some like to keep a clean slate and make a good first impression. Or basically, it's a cub and was only curious. In such situations, the danger will be the mom, and it appears these hunters knew. Kudos to them for keeping their cool. How would you have handled being put in such a position in your life? Stepping away from the Night King and all things cold, we have another interesting bit of footage. Have a look. The footage starts out as an ordinary drive through the dark woods until a creature in white crawls out from the right side of the bush, heading toward the left. The individual driving immediately stops, reverses, and gets the hell out of there. The one who sent this in states it was a skinwalker and he was the one driving. But let's analyze the video. At first glance, it looks like it's a creature with white skin, perhaps a rake. But once you zoom in, you realize that this white covering is nothing more than fabric. Could this footage have actually been the result of an elaborate hoax? Well, I believe so. There's no plausible explanation for what we see. Plus, who drives in the middle of nowhere that late and alone? The strong stance to sell this off as a skinwalker makes me think so. I mean, it definitely looks like a man crawling on his knees. But what do I know? Next, we have a couple of captures from Manchester, Connecticut that has us scratching our heads. Have a look. I wish I could tell you what we're looking at, but the truth is, I don't know. Sure, you're looking at the skeletal remains of some wild animal, but the thing is, we don't know what it is. The original poster, however, said he contacted Deep, and they told him it was a raccoon. However, we can't confirm its accuracy as this isn't an area we have much expertise. Can any of you confirm this? Would really love to know. Can animals sense otherworldly creatures? Well, here's a Trailcam footage that answers this question. In the footage, we see a deer standing by a tree going about its business when it suddenly stops and looks to the right. It's almost as if it felt something move in that area or direction. If you pay attention to the footage just around that time, you can see it. Something transparent moves in that area. There's a ghostly creature there. However, we can't really see it, so we can't tell what it is. It's not fully materialized in our plane, but it's so slightly visible that we can see it when it moves. As much as we'd want to find out what otherworldly creature we're dealing with, we can't help but feel this footage is an answer to the mystery of animals being able to sense otherworldly creatures. It could be just us, but what do you think? Take a look at this. Do you see it? A peculiar, hairy creature with some oddly smooth areas. Typically, when it comes to weird trail cam footage, you can always tell what you're looking at after staring for a while or taking a closer look. But the thing with this is, we can't tell exactly what we're looking at. It's just hair everywhere and a lack of unidentifiable features that would help us decipher this enigma. We tried running it through our database of paranormal creatures, and it didn't fit with any of the descriptions in it. We tried Google Images, and even Google couldn't tell us what it was or what it looked like. So at this point, we look to you. What do you think this capture is? Have you encountered anything like it? Tell us in the comments section, because we'd really love to know. Next, we have this footage, which comes from a subscriber of this page. He believes his Trailcam captured a skinwalker as it was reverting to its human form. Have a look. In the capture, we see a forest area with what looks like a human, specifically a man covered in mud centered in the image. He appears to be moving from the left to the right. Looking at the scenery, it's highly unlikely that anyone would be roaming the area naked without clothes and covered in mud, unless, of course, they somehow transformed from a wild animal to a human. Logically speaking, that sounds weird, but we have seen strange things on this channel and encountered many paranormal beings that make this look like your regular Sunday capture. We're tempted to believe that the one who sent in the image is onto something and in fact is telling the truth. What we don't, however, know is where the image was captured. But what do you think, though? Could it be a skinwalker transforming back to its human form, or are we dealing with a human who was somehow naked in the woods? Could the whole thing be an elaborate hoax as well? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. In this unsettling still image, we're confronted with an enigmatic being, if we may call it that. Its face, illuminated by the faint glow of the camera, gazes directly into the lens as though peering into the very depths of our souls. The time of the capture, 2 a.m., only adds to the mystery, for what mortal soul would venture into the woods at such an unearthly hour? Indeed, this eerie figure evokes unsettling vibes akin to the haunting presence of Pennywise, the infamous clown from the realm of horror fiction. One cannot help but wonder what could have possibly lurked in the wood on that fateful night. Was it a wandering spirit, a specter from beyond, or perhaps something more elusive and sinister? As we gather around the proverbial campfire of speculation, our imaginations run wild, conjuring myriad possibilities for the origins of this enigmatic figure. Is it an otherworldly entity caught momentarily in the human realm, or could it be a manifestation of something far more sinister, lurking just beyond the veil of our perception? The stillness of the image leaves us yearning for more, a glimpse into the events that preceded this unnerving moment. What do you think that was? Tell us in the comments section. Before I say any more, watch the footage. You see it, don't you? It looks like a creature noticed the trail cam and took a look at the camera to see if it was working or rolling. It's hard to see the face of the creature or animal, but from what we can tell, it's hairy and has a well-defined nose. It's almost as though it was trying not to be captured by the camera and wasn't sure if it had captured its face. Whatever the case, the creature suddenly attacks the camera and tears it down. It leaves after a few seconds, presumably thinking it had destroyed the camera. Now, here's the kicker. Some of my team believe it's a bear, and I don't blame them. It could be, after all. But many of us and a majority of the paranormal community that saw the video believe it's rather a Bigfoot. The community believes that the creature in the capture is Bigfoot that had thought it had been captured by the trail camera while exploring the woods and wanted to destroy all evidence of its existence. I know bears are curious and can be destructive, but I'm leaning toward the Bigfoot theory. It makes the most sense to me. What about you? Next, we have another set of spectral images sent in by some subscribers after our last video. Comparing this new image to the one we've captured previously, you can see the difference, can't you? The first one seems to have machines in the capture, while the second one, much akin to our earlier captures, seems to have a deer. Going by the first image alone, I'm tempted to think that we may have an alien situation on our hands, and that what we're seeing is nothing more than a glitch between their technology and our trail cameras. Perhaps they're using some cloaking device that the trail cameras are somehow picking up through some sort of interference. What if the spectral images we are seeing, including those involving animals, are nothing more than them cloaking our animals and taking them off the planet? I know it's wild, but it's not impossible. But if that's too much of a stretch for you, our camera experts believe that this could be nothing more than damaged trail cameras causing glitches in between the frames of the images they're capturing. Some also think that we may be looking at damaged SD cards affecting the integrity of the captured images. But if that's the case, why are we seeing these images from all over the globe? It should be an isolated incident, shouldn't it? But what do I know? Speaking of creatures taking an interest in trail cameras, have a look at this footage. The footage starts with a caravan or camper in view, but that's quickly interrupted by a canine or dog. On second thought, it's actually a wolf. It starts by licking the trail camera, and the actions immediately get aggressive, and within a few seconds it becomes apparent that the creature is very interested in tearing the camera apart. It even picks up the camera and walks away from the scene. After a few seconds, however, it realizes that it's not something that it can easily destroy, nor is it something that will give it nourishment. It then gives up and walks away, or perhaps it notices movement in the camper a few meters away from it. Whatever the case, we won't know what made it walk away for sure, but this gives us an idea of how an animal will behave with a trail camera, which only convinces me the more that the first footage from today's episode could indeed be a Bigfoot. But what do you think? Next, we have footage that shows something rather out of this world. Have a look. You saw the footage, didn't you? The footage starts off looking like an ordinary evening in the woods when a fast-moving worm-like object comes from the right toward the left. It looks like a beady necklace of some sort, but it's flying. Are you familiar with things like these? Well, we are. They are called rods. In paranormal discussions, rods typically refer to elongated, fast-moving objects that are sometimes captured in photographs or videos, particularly in the presence of insects or flying creatures. The one in this footage doesn't seem to be accompanied by insects, but that doesn't take away their authenticity. It was sent in by a subscriber of this page who says they've always been where he is, and he has more. Frankly speaking, we believe him, but what do you think? Do you have any experiences with these? Tell us in the comments section. Trailcam owners typically set up their cameras to capture wildlife, but even they have to agree that they do capture weird things that will shock many. There is footage that usually doesn't have any logical explanation or explanation as to how they exist, but it does. Take a look at this footage from Donnie Law's East Tennessee Outdoors YouTube channel. It's as recent as the 5th of May 2023. It shows a translucent orb moving across the trail camera. There's no explanation for such a thing. Even after delving into our paranormal archives, I couldn't find a single explanation for this phenomenon. Could it be a sign that the area is a hotspot for paranormal activity and we're just seeing traces of it? In that same spot, you see this second footage was also recorded, showing another bright orb in the location. Although this man has no interest in the paranormal, the evidence before him is hard to ignore. Despite his lack of interest in the paranormal, he can't ignore the compelling evidence. He genuinely believes that something dark and eerie may be unfolding right under his nose. What do you think, though? Do you have any logical explanations, or does he truly have a cause to be concerned? Now to something that's literally out of a horror movie. If you've seen Friday the 13th, then the character you are seeing on your screen should be very familiar to you. What if I told you that the image you're looking at wasn't taken on a movie set, but rather by a trail camera in 2014? It's enough to send shivers down your spine, isn't it? Shocked? That's exactly how the owner of the trail cam felt when he saw the footage. Could it have simply been cosplay? Well, that's possible, but we don't think that's the case here. The camera is located in an isolated and remote location in the woods. There's no way the individual captured in the image traveled that far just to pose with a cutlass for a photo. Plus, he was caught unawares by the trail camera that had been set up, and he was alone without any camera equipment. Could he be impersonating the character in the movie? Could he be hurting people in those woods? That's what the uploader and all members of the online community were asking themselves when they saw the footage. But those are questions we may never have an answer to. Thanks to the footage, however, the uploader knew not to visit those woods alone and at odd times. But tell us, do you think there's a cause for concern, or do you think we're just exaggerating? We'd like to hear your thoughts. Next, we have trail cam footage for what we still have no understanding. Have a look. According to the uploader of the footage, the trail camera was set up in the woods of a small public park people visit with a little yellow tape around it. Someone walked in and changed it, but here's the kicker. The person was not caught on camera. What do you think we're dealing with here? A skillful vandal or a paranormal being? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section, as we'd love to hear them. The discovery of human-like tracks in Missouri by a hiker is truly fascinating and may lead to speculation about their origin. The combination of human-like features and a size larger than what is typical for a human suggests the possibility of an enormous creature leaving these tracks. Given the description of the prints and their depth, it's reasonable to consider the likelihood of a large and powerful being responsible for them. One creature that fits such a description is Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch. Given the various reports of Bigfoot sightings and tracks surfacing from various parts of North America, including Missouri, I can't help but wonder if these creatures are up to something. Could they be plotting? Do we have to be worried? These are questions I can't seem to get out of my head. But what do you think of these discoveries? This next trail cam was captured on a path in the woods. When the owner retrieved the footage, discovered something jaw-dropping and sinister. Take a look at the video. Did you see that? Watch it again. Looking closely behind the trees, there you can see a white shadowy figure moving swiftly through the woods. What could that apparition be? Some kind of ghost or spirit? Could this be some kind of camera trick? I doubt that because it all looks so real. The very idea of coming across a ghost or spirit is fascinating. Across history, there have been countless reports of supernatural sightings, and stories of ghostly figures are deeply rooted in various cultures. Perhaps those stories are true after all, because, well, how else do you explain this and the countless realistic ghost images we have seen on this channel so far? Apart from capturing enigmatic creatures and animals in the wild, trail cameras sometimes capture strange humans who leave the comfort of civilization and venture into the woods to do questionable things. Take a look at this trail cam image, for instance. It was taken deep in a patch of pines at 7 p.m. Observe this intriguing image closely. It appears to show a person, possibly a mother, carrying a baby with what seems like a pacifier in its mouth. What could they be doing in the woods at this time, and why have a baby with you? Unless for some reason they were lost in the woods, which is understandable, but if not, then why? What exactly could be going on in this footage? Unless, of course, they're not human after all and there's something weird going on. This is one of the weirdest trail cam footages that I've come across, and I just can't understand the situation here. What do you think could be happening? Next, we go all the way to Seattle, where this footage was supposedly taken. Have a look. The capture starts off looking natural, but we soon spot the black spot behind the trees in the snow-covered area. The uploader of this capture noticed it too and quickly went back to the area to investigate, as he was a Bigfoot enthusiast and suspected that he'd actually captured one. His curiosity and hunch paid off, as they spotted the creature within the area when they returned. But seeing them from afar, the creature did its best to escape. The second footage you are seeing is what they captured during their second visit and investigation. The footage is quite blurry, making it difficult for us to verify its authenticity, but have you seen it too? What do you think? Is it real or is it merely edited footage? Tell us your thoughts in the comments section. We'd actually love to know. Next, we have one of those that have you questioning what you're seeing. This was uploaded by someone who was very convinced that there was a demonic spawn on his property. He'd heard strange sounds at night, investigated, and seen nothing. He often heard strange noises at midnight and saw two glowing eyes appear and reappear in the distance. He set up a trail cam, hoping he could capture whatever creature it was. The aftermath is what you see. There's a black creature right in front of the metallic object in the background. The uploader is convinced that's the demonic spawn, but it looks like one of those small species of dogs to me. But what do you think? If you, the subscriber of this channel, have proven anything, it's the fact that you have an eye for detail and that you are capable of noticing even the smallest of details. Your knowledge of animal species has proven to be better than even mine, so I have this bonus footage for you. What do you see? Is it a fisher, an otter, or a mink? Or could it be another species altogether? You tell me. Put your answer in the comments section and start your comment with bonus footage so we can easily identify it. Do well to add 2 rare facts about the species, and the fastest individual with the rarest of facts receives a shout-out and a feature in our next video. You could become the 4th person to ever be featured on the channel, and it's an honor you shouldn't let pass you by. All the best. If you owned a Trailcam and it fell where someone could help you by picking it up, you'd want them to, right? But what if they looked like this? Yeah, that's an actual person. If you've watched Game of Thrones, then you know he actually looks like the Night King. He has the look of the king, and although his skin isn't ice, it's pale enough to look like the Night King. The owner of the Trailcam which captured this found his Trailcam reattached and set up in a way he had initially set it up. What's more, it looked like it was on a different tree, and he could swear that the tree he'd set up the camera on was actually not there anymore, like a storm had taken it down. He sent it home, reviewed the capture, and knew instantly what had happened. His camera had actually fallen down, and this Night King lookalike had come and reattached it. But we have questions. Who is this man? Why is his skin so pale? And what was he doing in the woods dressed like that? I guess we'll never know. Our next captcha is an eerie Trailcam image that indeed raises numerous questions and sends shivers down our spines. Take a look. At first glance, the image looks like a person taking a walk in the middle of the night. After a second look, it becomes evident that the figure is wearing a uniform, leading me to speculate that this individual could be on a hunt. Upon closer inspection, however, and you would realize that the figure doesn't seem to have a face. Moreover, it has a ghostly appearance, and that's when it clicks. There's no way a human would have been taking a stroll in the woods that late at night. This definitely has to be paranormal, but what kind? Is this a ghost? A shapeshifter on its way to avenge someone maybe? Or just a lost soul caught on camera? It's hard to say, but what do you think? Next, our focus lies on an intriguing Trailcam capture dating back a few years, which has left us perplexed and curious. Have a look. As we gaze upon the daytime image, we're confronted with a blurred figure, a spectral presence that defies easy identification. The Trailcam, situated on a remote farm, has captured an enigma that has left the most astute minds puzzled. Some have ventured to speculate that this blurry apparition could be a scarecrow, dressed in a brown leather jacket and an old farmer's hat, dutifully standing guard over the fields. However, this theory is quickly quashed as scarecrows are known to be stationary, and there are no such figures in the vicinity of the Trailcam. Others have suggested that the figure could be the farmer himself, diligently tending to his crops. Yet, this notion is swiftly dismissed by the farmer, who attests that he didn't venture to that part of the farm on the day the image was captured. A riddle within a riddle, it seems. The realm of the unknown, however, does not easily succumb to conventional explanations. As whispers of Bigfoot sightings and strange occurrences resonate in the area, the possibility of a cryptid presence cannot be ignored. The farmer's accounts of missing fruits and small animals add weight to the theory, enticing our imagination towards the mysterious realm of Bigfoot. On a lighter note, whimsical speculation also suggests the presence of Swiper the Fox from the beloved animated series Dora the Explorer, perhaps on a playful quest for a hidden treasure chest. While this notion may elicit a smile, the true identity of the blurred figure remains shrouded in uncertainty. I'd like to know what your thoughts are, though. What do you think we could be dealing with here? Tell us in the comments section. Often at times, we assume animals don't have a mind of their own and that they may never notice a trail cam setup. In this footage, we see a black bear approximately a little less than 6 feet tall watching the trail cam while on all fours. The footage captured the black bear gallivanting through the woods during the nighttime. The bear approaches the camera with glowing eyes, seemingly intrigued by the discovery. Although animals do this all the time, I'm not convinced that we're dealing with an animal. Notice the odd orbs around the creature. If you've been on this channel for long, you know they represent the supernatural, and the uploader of the footage believes that bear might actually be a spirit bear exploring the forest. Some believe that these orbs adjust the function of light falling on the trail cam, but that's hard to confirm. What do you think could be happening here? Believe me when I say I've seen things, but never have I seen nor thought of seeing what I'm about to show you. And yes, that's a weird-looking creature on top of a wild boar. It actually seems to be riding it. Look at the image. You can't help but wonder what creature you're looking at. It appears to be a humanoid of sorts with some weird foot. It looks in the trail camera and poses as though it knows that it's being watched and actually wants to be seen. Nobody on my team could tell what kind of creature it was, even after running it through our in-house glossary of paranormal creatures. It was at this moment that one of our team members started scrutinizing the picture. He believes that the boar is actually not being ridden and might actually be grazing. He thinks the uploader of the image simply edited an image of a boar grazing and posted it online to make it look like a paranormal creature was, well, riding it. Personally, I think that might be the case too, but the team's divided on it. What do you think, though? Next, we have footage that doesn't seem edited at all. The footage starts off with a man fishing and his lovely sheep watching with anticipation. Or is it? Well, it turns out that it wasn't. The sheep was actually waiting for the right time to ram into the fisherman, and it does. The unsuspecting fisherman falls into the water, and you think that would be enough for the sheep, but it wasn't. Stunned, the fisherman gets up, sees the sheep, and ends up being pursued by it. The man looks like he's advanced in age, which makes it hard for me to laugh. But I can swear I probably still had you laughing, or at least giggling in your mind. If you did, I don't want to be the one to tell you, but hell, it's not a nice place. We all know that cats are quite fearless, especially tiny house cats, and we also know that they consider their owners their servants, but we didn't think this behavior of domestic cats occurs in the wild as well. I mean, take a look at this footage. Yes, that's a feline on the shoulder of a rhino. My initial thoughts were the cat believes it owns the rhino and it must bend to its will, but turns out that's not the situation at all. In fact, that's not a domestic cat, it's a genet. According to our experts, the genet was most likely using the rhino as an elevation to hunt smaller creatures within the area. I know cats are smart, but that's smart on a whole new level. Have you ever seen a genet before, or did you know there was even such a creature before this clip? Tell us in the comments section. Next, we have this footage captured on a trail cam that reveals a photo caught of a creature about to land in the forest. Beautiful, isn't it? The creature in the photo is bird-like and colorful and appears to have been captured mid-air with its flapping wings frozen in a rapid motion. The uploader of the image describes it as the coolest picture he's ever taken. The majestic creature is surrounded by lush, healthy trees that reach skyward, adorned with an abundance of vibrant green leaves. In the footage, we can see the bird with its long legs, white feathers, and a short beak landing where there seems to be a fox. Could that bird-like creature be one of divine origins, or are we simply dealing with the bird's motion creating an illusion of long legs and its feathers appearing colorful due to the play of sunlight? What are your thoughts? And for our third bonus segment, we have a creature that you wouldn't know so easily. Don't believe us? Have a look. Do you see it? Does its appearance not resemble a diver jumping from a springboard into a pool? As impressive and good-looking as that specimen is, what animal do you think this is? Do you have an idea? Then tell us in the comments section and add one rare fact about the animal. Start your comment with bonus footage so we can easily identify it. The most accurate description with the rarest fact will win a feature in our next video. You will become the second person to ever be featured. That's some prestige if you know what I mean. All the best. Many will come with their speculations concerning every Trailcam video uploaded, but let's dissect what's really going on here. In this footage, we see a hairless creature that's apparently sniffing around and searching for food. All who initially saw this footage believed that we're dealing with a chupacabra, and given its appearance, we don't blame them. But is it really one? Some don't think so. They think it's only a mangy coyote, and while we can see where they're coming from, we'd still want to hear your thoughts. What do you see? Let your speculations flood the comment section. Oh no, this is just heartbreaking. The owner of the Trailcam must have been excited to check out the wild animal footage, but instead they stumbled upon this heart-wrenching image. In the photo, there's a dog with its head stuck in a container. Can you imagine how scared and helpless that poor pup must feel? It's likely a stray dog just trying to find some food in someone's trash, but things took a terrible turn when its head got trapped in that container. It's heartbreaking to think that the dog is probably struggling to eat or drink with that thing stuck on its head. And what's worse, the container has been on for days. Can you imagine how hungry and thirsty that dog must be? I only hope and pray that the container isn't airtight, or else the poor thing could be in even more danger. The owner of the camera tried to find the dog and help, but no luck so far. I can only hope and wish that someone out there found this sweet pup and gave it the care and love it deserves. It breaks my heart to think of that poor dog suffering all alone. Let's keep all our fingers crossed and send positive vibes that someone came to the rescue and gave this furry friend a second chance at a better life. What would you do when a wild animal shows up on your property? Well, you take a picture, especially if it's up close, and that's exactly what the one who sent these pictures in did. Have a look. If you're a long-term subscriber of this channel, then you know I've been chastised often when it comes to identifying members of the cervid family, and by that I mean elks, moose, and deer. When it comes to these pictures, I believe I know which one is in it. It's definitely an elk, and a majestic one at that. Although the pictures are not the sharpest and look amateurish, you can't deny that's a good-looking specimen. And if I'm correct with the identification of the animal, I think I deserve some accolades from you guys. Well, but if I'm wrong, however, please do have mercy. Next, we visit Virginia, where a park ranger has some rather interesting footage for us. Have a look. Yes, it's another cervid, but I can tell you this is a deer. There's, however, something off about the deer. It appears frozen, and initially I thought it was a sculpture or a wax statue or something. That was at least until it got poked with a stick and reacted. The park ranger who recorded the footage was left dumbfounded, and, well, I was too. In fact, I still am currently. We did some research and turns out the creature is actually suffering from the zombie deer disease, or more technically, the chronic wasting disease, or CWD for short, which affects cervids. The disease causes disorientation, lack of coordination, repetitive walking patterns, drooling, and a vacant stare like we're seeing with this deer. It's an unfortunate thing, and although there's no scientific evidence that it can be transmitted to humans, I'd advise you to stay away from any cervids having these symptoms and inform local authorities. Stay safe out there. I know that deer looked possessed, but what do you say about this trail cam capture? Yes, that's a small girl standing in the middle of the woods staring at the trail camera like something from a horror movie. The image was supposedly taken in a village in India where festivals are held for the possessed. Apparently, there's a priest that helps individuals get rid of their evil spirits. The little girl you see was apparently one of them, and she escaped to the woods only to be captured by the trail camera. Listening to the story, it initially sounded interesting, but it became less interesting with each word and sentence. First of all, we don't think that looks like India, but we could be wrong. Secondly, we just can't shake off the feeling that we might actually be dealing with an elaborate hoax. Call it a hunch of sorts, but that could just be us being overly critical about a picture involving a possessed little girl. Perhaps that's the spirit manipulating us so it can stay hidden. But what do you think? Is this a real picture or a possessed girl? Or is it someone simply messing with those of us who believe in the paranormal? Share your thoughts with us. Next, we have footage retrieved from a security cam. It was taken in the dead of night with no source of light but the camera's IR light. Yet despite that, it captured something truly disturbing. Have a look. Unless there is proof that the Flash is real and he's embraced the darkness now, I don't think that there is a logical explanation for this footage. In the stillness of the night, a dark figure zooms from an unknown location into the camera frame. Whatever it is, its smoke made the one whose trail camera captured it believe he was dealing with a vampire. Some viewers shared the same belief, while others speculated it could be a shadow of an animal, perhaps a bird or a swooping bat behind the camera. As much as we want to believe that, the ghostly appearance and supernatural speed of its movement leave us questioning any logical explanation given. What do you think, though? Next, we have a capture that's not necessarily a trail cam, but one that's equally interesting regardless. If you've been to the wild, then you're familiar with coming across trees animals have robbed on. I mean, cats do that in our rooms, but that's just scratching. What do you do when you come across one that's over 6 feet high? Well, you start wondering what creature was large enough to do so. If you pay attention to the one in the middle, it's different from the rest. Moose do this to get rid of the velvet that covers their antlers, but can you think of how large the moose that did this was? If you have some hunting experience, please bless us with knowledge in the comments section, as we'd love to read. As the saying goes, not all heroes wear capes, and this footage is nothing but a true example of that. Have a look. This man was driving by the Thomas fire when he immediately stopped and ran towards the flames. Onlookers took out their cameras to film, wondering what he was doing, when suddenly he grabbed something from the ground. It was a rabbit. The man actually stopped to save the rabbit from the fire. Such a brave superhero. As impressive as the feat is, experts actually advise us not to save wild animals during fires. They state that if the animal wants to go back into the fire, chances are it has babies to recover or its burrow is safe despite how dangerous the fire looks. As conflicting as that might sound, they are the experts after all. If the animal doesn't make it, it's the circle of life after all. But that doesn't take away from the bravery of this man. What say you? Next, we have this scary and, quite frankly, spine-chilling video that we have failed to come up with an explanation for. In this footage, you won't believe what we've stumbled upon. A bizarre creature that gives me serious Gollum vibes from Lord of the Rings. The creature is bald and seems to be devouring something on the ground. There's no telling what, but it notices the one filming and stares sharply in his direction. The video ends there. What do you think that is? We had to go through our list of cryptids and paranormal creatures, yet found nothing that remotely looked like or acted like this creature. Could it be a creature of the night that had escaped the Netherrealm into ours? Could it be, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, a demon? Now, before you dismiss this notion, remember that while the existence of such creatures cannot be scientifically proven, neither can they be disproven. Is this one of them, though? Well, it's hard to say. The footage could be the result of an elaborate hoax. It could also be a fake. Can we say for certain what it is? No, we can't. But as always, what do you think? Next, we take a trip to a creepy inn in England. Wow, that's quite a mouthful. Anyway, back to our clip. Would you visit a place that has a reputation for being creepy and weird with a lot of unexplained paranormal occurrences? If you answered no, you are not alone, but such an answer would be unacceptable for the individuals responsible for the clip. They decided to visit the ancient Ram Inn, knowing perfectly well that the place was well known for creepy occurrences. Once they were settled in, they decided to offload their bags and set up a camera in hopes of capturing a paranormal occurrence on camera. It didn't take too long, however, as their camera bag started to move by itself once they were almost done setting up their camera. Luckily, the camera was already rolling, and we managed to capture the entire incident on film. If you pay attention to the audio, you'll hear a woman's startled remarks. Personally, I don't see why they're shocked because they signed up for it. Take it from this footage. Before choosing your next inn or hotel, make sure you do your homework. Those funny stories you've heard about a place, unless you're actively seeking thrills, it's best not to randomly choose a place to spend the night during your trip. Who knows what horrors you may encounter? You have been warned. Next, we have another capture of the dog-man-wolf-man creature we shared earlier. This was received separately, albeit from the same location. I can't help but think it might actually be a never-before-seen type of cryptid. The increasing number of captures suggests that these creatures might be multiplying or that our presence in their territory is more frequent than ever before. What are your thoughts? What would you do when you wake up to a wild animal, specifically a horse, watching you sleep? Well, wonder no more. Instead, watch this footage. Yes, and yes again. That's a horse watching a woman sleep. And no, it's no peeping Tom situation. The horse probably saw the strange tent in the woods and hadn't seen it before. It might have gone to investigate, which led to what you're seeing on the screen. The camping woman was shocked and surprised, and I don't blame her. I would be too if I woke up to a horse staring me down. The uploader initially believed it was a skinwalker or a demon tailing her because it stared for so long. We love a paranormal story as much as the next guy, but that's definitely not a skinwalker, demon, or shapeshifter. What do you think? Next, we have this footage, which is a favorite of mine. In the capture, we see a man rushing towards a kangaroo. At first glance, it looks like the kangaroo is only having fun with the dog. But if you know anything about kangaroos, you know that it's got the dog in a headlock and the dog's life is in danger. The handler of the dog knew this and runs toward the kangaroo. The kangaroo doesn't look like it's ready to let things go so easily until the man punches it. Yes, he punched it, but not only so it would let the dog go, the creature was stunned and actually let the dog go. The owner of the dog uses that as an opportunity to escape, and I must say, I applaud him for that. That way, unnecessary interactions are avoided, which keeps both parties safe without needing to put anything down. For our next capture, we travel back in time to 2017. An image was shared back then, and despite the fact that it's been more than 5 years, it remains a mystery, leaving many with questions that have remained unanswered. Have a look. You see it too, don't you? This image is unlike anything we've ever captured on the channel. The image was taken by a Trailcam set up in the woods. The owner of the Trailcam, which captured the image, was reviewing the interesting pictures his camera had captured when he was shocked to find these unnatural captures. The dark creature, or should I say creatures in the dark, had no discernible body with glowing eyes and what looked like arms stretched out. There appeared to be two creatures as there two sets of eyes. Perplexed and freaked out by what he was seeing, the uploader sent the footage around to the paranormal community hoping for answers, but no one had any for him as they were too confused. Some thought it was a Sasquatch, whereas others thought it might be like a ghost or otherworldly creature. Looking at it, we don't have answers either. Do you? Tell us in the comments section. In this footage, a brave man stumbles upon a set of enormous tracks leading from the depths of the forest to his very doorstep. He couldn't believe his eyes at the size of these tracks, exceeding that of any human footprints he'd ever seen. Clearly, it was evident that no ordinary human could be responsible for these massive impressions. As the man followed the tracks, he noticed the significant gaps between each print, indicating a creature of considerable size was wandering through the area. This left him baffled, as he ruled out typical animals like apes or gorillas, which wouldn't have left such enormous tracks. So, what could be responsible for these puzzling footprints? The man couldn't help but consider the possibility of the legendary Bigfoot. Could this elusive and enigmatic creature be roaming the wilderness, leaving behind traces of its presence? As we always do, we approach such encounters with a blend of curiosity and skepticism. While the idea of a mythical creature like Bigfoot captivates our imagination, we also keep in mind that there might be other explanations for these unusual tracks. Is it possible that a large and unknown animal species resides deep within the forest, still waiting to be discovered by science? Or could there be a more rational explanation for these prints that we have yet to consider? Tell us what you think. And for our final capture, we have one that's left us scratching our heads. Have a look. Yeah, that's a naked man walking through a field in broad daylight. I mean, the person has a face of a man with facial hair and all, but his hair is long and he appears to be wearing a woman's crop top with what looks like a hostler around his waist and a pair of shoes. He also seems to have a walkie-talkie on. Apart from that, you can see his butt cheeks hanging out in the sun. Who is this and why is he half naked? While our first instinct might be to think of a prankster or someone engaging in unusual behavior, we must keep an open mind and consider other possibilities. Could this be an individual who's lost or disorientated, or perhaps they're part of a performance or unconventional artistic expression? There's a myriad of potential explanations that we can explore, but share your thoughts, we'd love to know. While relatively blurry compared to our other footage, this particular clip captures something truly spectacular. In the clip, we see a creature moving towards land in the river. The waves behind the creature shows that it's a large creature and has some serious power to be moving at such speed with such large waves behind it. Upon emerging from the river, a transformation occurs and the creature takes on a human form, a form it didn't possess initially. But how is this transformation possible? So there's just one possible explanation. It's a shapeshifter. But are these beings real? That's hard to assert with absolute certainty. However, considering all that we've encountered on this channel, doubting it might not be a stretch. What do you think, though? Is that a possibility we should accept, or is this simply a cleverly devised hoax? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section, as we'd really love to hear it. Now prepare for today's dose of cuteness overload, and it's no exaggeration when I say that. I mean, just take a look. Yes, that's an actual puppy getting on the back of a goose and then hugging it. While this is what you might call the unlikeliest of companionships and hugs, it doesn't change the fact that it's an adorable and lovely one. Have you come across any pups or animals having unusual friendships and unions? Please share in the comments section because we'd love to see it. Now, I know I've shown you a lot of alien stuff in today's footage already, but none compares to what I'm about to show you, so brace yourselves. The footage begins with a typical security cam overlooking a pool, but it takes a sudden turn. The woman appears to levitate and either disintegrate or perhaps teleport to another place. Just before the woman disappears, however, you see them look around as though something ominous has happened. We don't see it, but a few seconds later, the woman disappears. Scary, huh? That someone could just disappear like that. But is it real, though? A part of me wants to believe it is, yet the logical part of me wants to find reasons for why it's not. What do you think, though? A final enigma before you go? Tell me what you feel we're dealing with here, because I really want to know. And with that, we end today's episode. If you have any Trailcam footage you'd like the rest of the world to see, please send it to us at classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. We'll make sure to include it in our upcoming video and give you the due credit. It's a fantastic way to share your captures with the rest of the world, don't you think? See you in the next episode.